So right now I'm on Facebook Live, as you guys can see me here, and also I'm recording a video, and simultaneously I'm on my podcast. This is the very first basic recording which I'm planning to do for a long time, but today I got a time. So hello everyone on Facebook and on the recording and on my podcasting channel. So this is NSADreams, which is established in 2018 and there we were looking as a experienced campaigner I am right now, that later on I'm gonna tell you about what experience I possess and what is on the my skill set side. But right now I'm focusing just to share about the NSADreams and what all we are focusing as of now. So we are primarily focusing on digital marketing and promoting and maintaining the campaigns and on the branding part onto the different platforms across India and as well on the international clients. And so we are into you can say it's like a global marketing agency where we are focusing 360-degree marketing solutions to the different enterprise, where if they are planning to establish their products, coming up the new products, and also taking marketing initiatives to make the campaigns enable as far the branding is concerned with respect to their alignment onto different regions if they are focusing on. So we deliver the different colors across the globe of the products and as well to the different areas of domains. So I just wanted to have a brief of this part, and later on I will take on in my different section episode of my podcast, and also brief you about my experience as of now. So hello guys, I'm Nitin Sarna, and I'm the founder and the director of NSADreams.biz, which is our portal. So there you can see, I'm gonna share the link once we post onto this. So right now my experience is as of now, like I had started working with the software companies right from the TCS, where I had started as an apprentice or the trainee. Then I started working with the Z Limited, and as a faculty associate, and also working on to the different platforms of the web-based systems. So then I started move on in 98 to 2000. I had worked with DS Group, which is another company, and onto the different it's FMCG firm, where I was into primarily on the marketing domain, and also working on the different associate software needs where I have to cater. So there I worked with Foxpro, C++, and the Unix platforms. Then I joined RMSI in 2002. Worked as a software engineer while working on the C++ to start off. Then from there I worked on the Java technologies, like on the EJBs and the Java Swings and the SQL 2000s. And while working on these, I was getting the responsibility to work on the requirement specification documents, where we elucidate the documents and we just make the high level document and the low level documents which are meant to be reviewed by our analyst as a part of the process which every company adhere to. And that company was based in California. It's RMS. We were working with RMS India, which is a part of RMS California. Then I worked as a senior technical consultant for 6 months, and around 6 months at a WOW Consulting Group. There I got exposure of gathering the critical information across the globe for different locations, and that information is required to make the insurance company policies enable, which is kind of a similar profile which I'd worked with RMSI. And then I got a breakthrough in I worked with Eon Technologies, Gurgaon, that is in India, in August 2004 till 2005, where starting off I worked on Java Swings, which is having their own existing system. So there I got an opportunity to work on. Then I had started working on Oracle 10G technologies like Oracle Application Server, ADF and BC4J, Oracle Meta Repository, Identity Management, struts. And while working on the Java Swings, we were interacting with the Oracle, because that time the Oracle grid computing technology or the cloud computing which you see right now is available was getting established. So we were working tightly with the Oracle team, and managing and giving the feedback onto the different functionalities which they are looking to deliver in the long run. So we like work on the different application server administration performance tuning tools, which right now you see which were very much enabled and demanding, right? So we were extensively involved in the development, right, from building the client to building the business services that include entity objects, view objects, etc., and then transforming those objects to session entity beans, which was stateless and the stateful. So there were like different technologies and different functionalities. According to that, we were interacting with the Oracle development team and onto the while working on the cloud computing in terms of how the performance works and giving them the feedback. So that was relatively a good exposure while working on to these areas. So after that, like I just moved on while working with from some of the critical aspects within the company. Then I moved on to NIT Technologies, which was another my profile, where I started working as a software engineer and moving on to the project lead. So there I started my work with the SITA investment, which was a client based in the US, where we were working on to the on-site offshore model, and we were involved with, like I was involved with day-to-day telecom with the customers getting the requirement. And we were like, this project was purely working on the agile methodology, where we were getting the everyday requirement and we have to give those requirements to the client on the daily basis. So it was a very hectic but quite a few learning sessions we were involved. Like we were working on every day, once we are in the meeting with the client, so we were making MOMs, and different estimation tools were involved, and create WS and similar way. The team size was also not that big, so we were like working on many systems. Like we have to locate and identify and enable it and give it to the client. So from there, after ICA investment, I started working with ING Bank. There I got an opportunity to work right across in the Europe. I worked with ICA in the Amsterdam, and there I was working on the security incident monitoring system, where we were monitoring while working on the Unix and the C platform. We were monitoring the OS with the interbank system, and what kind of logins and what kind of events with respect to each login has been developed. So this was like quite a few handful learning system, where we were moving to different parts of the Europe and to collect the requirement and to find the event IDs of the system and like monitoring it. So from there, like I worked with British Airways, which was our NIT Technologies client. So it's as we all know, it's London based. So I got a chance and opportunity to work on again the Java Swings part, and from there on we had, because it's a big project, so I got an opportunity to work onto the different systems and onto the different requirements, and getting onto the different system, getting the skill set and the knowledge span area of the British Airways support and maintenance project. I got an opportunity to work on the different proposal making, also managing the team, and while working technically very sound on the architectural part. So from there I got a good exposure of getting a learning about how the airline domain systems are maintained, and what kind of aircrafts, and setting system, and the rules and governance and the policies what need to be done. So that was a good quite handful exposure to take forward my skill set, and which has enabled me to move on to the analyst side, where I was interacting with the client, and getting the requirement from the client, and that had enabled me to learn a bigger spectrum of learning client, and how the client and server architecture works, and how uh, learning more about the design patterns, and the frameworks, and also once you get an opportunity to work like on the bigger system, so there is always a possibility of the external systems or the external components which get to interact with the British Airways existing system, because there are quite a few handful airports and all where the existing systems are getting interacted onto the XML part we were using to tool, which enable us to work on the IVR system also, where I had myself worked freelancingly on the IVR system as to on the learning part of my side. So while working on the British Airways, I got a good hold on the three-tier architecture and model view controllers and different design patterns which we need to implement within the project to enable the system work properly, and also on the process oriented side, where all the documentations and the processes and the reviews which has to be done while delivering the system. So this was a quite handful experience for me, which enabled me to further move on to the different project within the same company, that is SITA, which is a North American company. So I have been positioned in Canada, and I was responsible to interact with the customer in making the proposal and requirement elicitation, and managing a team of around 12 team members involved in supporting multiple projects. Also have experience to working on the enterprise portfolio manager and MS project to foresee the multiple development activities across the enterprises, where the dependency highlighted through the CPM. So it was a very much a bottleneck project, which was that was a pilot project which has been started from the NIT side. So I've been given the responsibility. I feel lucky enough to work onto those systems and interact with the client. And there I was lucky enough to have a good boss there in Burlington. I was sitting in Burlington with my director, with the SITA Aero director, and I was in positioned in a very good way, because there was a lot of skill set was required in enabling the faster deliveries, and that too I had experienced that once I had worked with British Airways with getting a good hold and opportunity to, I'm lucky enough to get a good hold on the architectural part. So that had enabled me to serve the SITA Aero well enough, and it was very well appreciated. And although I've been positioned somebody on top, but I was very well appreciated by my director. And so this was like I was like involved in meeting the directors, discussing the constraints, provide updates on the different activities. So with SITA Aero, I got opportunity to work around 15 different airlines, right? So like Thai Airlines, Singapore Airlines. Likewise, I was working on 15 different airlines, interacting round the clock, making the telecons on the different parts of the world, and discussing the requirement, and also facilitating the changes, what kind of changes has to be done, and discussing the complications of the changes to the existing system. So this discussions and the experience gaining process had enabled me to look more into the architectural part, and instead of also managing the team, and also on the project management aspects. Lucky enough to have a good people who are or on the project management. I was also involved in making the tracking reports, timesheets, and multiple other record which are as and when required onto the technical side and also on the non-technical aspects of the different areas which I was serving it. So that was a good learning process as as an employee of NIT Technologies. So the major responsibility and the constraint was a time factor, which like I have to interact and to my offshore team while sitting on the onshore. So I was working 24/7 and supporting my team and letting them understand the requirement and what kind of changes, and if they have any doubts, letting it discuss with the client in Canada, and sharing the feedback to them and what kind of change that has to be done. So I had also worked on a rational enterprise portfolio manager that I had told you before, to monitor multiple concurrent processes and projects to ensure effective online completion. So it was such a challenging aspect, but it was like for me it is like win-win situation, because from there also I was getting an opportunity to learn onto different tools and different areas where it was challenging. So always I was pushing myself up to gain myself, to gain in terms of the performance areas. So, and that tool was enormously well placed, and all the entities are well established, and that was the SITA's existing system, which has enabled me to overlook the different teams, and learning through that tool what are the requirement of, because all the things are getting uploaded and all the version control is maintained through system. So that was lucky enough thing for me to go ahead and gain an experience. Then I had while coming back from Canada, I got an opportunity in India to work with HCL Technologies. There I had been given an opportunity to work on the project lead and the project manager aspects while working on the technical things. So I was reporting to the vice president, and while working on the same different tool, but the technology was like domain was totally different. So it was a healthcare system. So it's my care healthcare system, which was very well into in the initial stage. So I was more involved into telecom with the client, and the team size was less, and it was going on a very slow pace. So that is more challenging even once your project is going on a low, and all the planning task and scheduling was happening, and how the projections need to be done. And not only in terms of projections, the methodology which it was involved in agile and scrum. So and also on, it was not into the support and maintenance as well. So the delivery was scheduled in a planned way. So I was like partially working on agile and as well on the spiral methodology. So there we have to maintain the concurrent delivery processes, and also ensure the documentation need to be done. So I was handling independent deliveries, because in Canada I was like looking to handle it, but it was being overlooked by the director of the SITA. That client always assess once you are working onto the client side. So while working with HCL, like an opportunity, and there I was being responsible to analyze the risk and different stakeholder risk. So the team size was good enough. It was like 60 odd, and there I have worked with JDKs and WebLogic application server, GSP, Servlet, Hibernate, and SOA and MS project, because I was into the project management. That was a transition which had happened from April, from sorry, not from NIT Technologies, from staying it more on the technical side. So I had spent quite a few months. Then I joined. I was like more keen to work as a consultant, and as on my things, working my way, because to do for a long time, but today I got a time. So hello everyone on Facebook and on the recording and on my podcasting channel. So this is NSADreams, which it so I just wanted to brief this part on my Facebook page, my company's page, and from there on, I would like to take a moment into my next live stream, where I would like to share more about my company, where my company focus on, and how we are planning to engage more and more international clients, and onto different streams. Like in India, we have some engagements going on already, and we have associations with different things. So in the next episode, I like to discuss more on this, and that too on the YouTube. And but the guys, if you're watching me live, so I'm gonna share those areas and like to discuss on the more. So keep me stay in touch with me, and love you all. Thank you so much. So right now I'm on Facebook Live, as you guys can see me here, and also I'm recording a video, and simultaneously I'm on my podcast. This is the very first basic recording which I'm planning to do for a long time, but today I got a time. So hello everyone on Facebook and on the recording and on my podcasting channel. So this is NSADreams, which is established in 2018 end, and there we were looking as a experienced campaigner I am right now. That later on I'm gonna tell you about what experience I possess, and what is on the my skill set side. But right now I'm focusing just to share about the NSADreams and what all we are focusing as of now. So we are primarily focusing on digital marketing and promoting and maintaining the campaigns, and on the branding part onto the different platforms